Yo, you're listening to All Burgundy and Gold, everything powered by the Urban Sports Team, Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM, 1340 AM, Hopewell, Virginia. I'm your host, Glen, along with my main man, George. Wole may be joining us a little bit later. I believe Mo is out. What's up, George? How you feeling today, brother?
We're feeling good. We're feeling good. Getting close to the end of the week. Getting close to the finals in both the hockey and the NBA playoffs. And I'm really looking forward to the NBA finals the way it's shaping up. So excited, but I'm excited to talk about this here. I have to say, I think we're gonna have a fun one tonight.
I am too, man. Looking for the NBA finals. Look like it'll be two small market teams. I don't know how the rating. I don't know how everybody else feels about that in the NBA. But again, it's going to be one heck of a final. So I know people are rooting for the New York Knicks, but yeah, that's a tough hill to climb. You know what I'm saying? But it's football season. It's almost George. We almost like a month away from training camp, man.
That is a good point. What is it, like 6 weeks? I think, is it even 6 weeks at this point?
Like 6
Yeah,
weeks.
it's good. It's gonna come. It's gonna come around before we know it. I think this month has flown. I can't believe it's May 29th already. It
Already
feels like
making
it was May 1st yesterday.
I know, man, and we've been talking about Commanders football ever since the end of the season. But it's a good thing to talk about Commanders football. But let's get into it, man. Before subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Gold Errrything. That's Errrything with 3 R's. Also tweet us out HBG_Errrything and hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG _everything as well. Hey, make sure you subscribe to our All Burgundy and Gold YouTube channel. Also, if you're feeling generous, hit us up with a super chat on your YouTube. We'll definitely prioritize your comments. We're streaming on the Urban Sport Live on the Urban Sports Scene X account as well. Hey, it's time for the pregame. This is what we have on tap. We're going to debate whether we think Washington has closed the gap on the Philadelphia Eagles and whether the Cowboys and Giants has closed the gap on the Washington Commanders. George, man, you're up, baby. What we got? Let's get into it.
That is the question. We've had it's been a pretty interesting offseason in the NFC East, and I would say it's been pretty active when you look at who's come in and come out. So Washington has had, I think a lot of people would say they've had a decent offseason, maybe even a really good offseason. They brought in Michael Gallup, who's retired, but has been a good receiver in the past. They traded for Deebo Samuel. They traded for Laramie Tunsil. They brought in Nate Herbig for some depth for as a depth piece, and Dietrich Wise on the to help at defensive end. Javon Kinlaw was a huge signing for them. Will Harris to help them in the backfield. So that's what they did there. In terms of departures, Washington, they haven't had a ton of them. De'Ami Brown, Jamison Crowder, Olamide Zaccheaus, Cornelius Lucas, Dante Fowler, who's a key ad for somebody else. Jonathan Allen's certainly the biggest one to me. Benjamin St. Juste, nobody's going to miss him. Jeremy Chin as well. They also had 5 draft choices at the draft, with their first round pick, of course, being Josh Connerly, the tackle from Oregon, but only 5 draft choices at the draft. So that's Washington. And the question is, with that offseason, have they, one, made up ground on Philadelphia? And then maybe the other question is, have they made up enough ground on Philadelphia? So before you answer, Glenn, let me give you Philadelphia's offseason. Key additions for Philadelphia: Dorian Thompson-Robinson, who they traded for to help back up Jalen Hurts. A.J. Dillon, Azeez Ojulari, who they got from the Giants, and Adoree Jackson, who they got from the Giants. A lot of losses, though. Kenny Pickett, who went in that trade. Kenneth Gainwell, one of their running backs. Mekhi Becton turned his career around in Philadelphia. Brandon Graham retired. Josh Sweat, Milton Williams from that great defense. Darius Slay, and Chauncey Gardner-Johnson from their secondary. So now I give it to you, Glenn. Has Washington made up ground, and have they made up enough ground on Philadelphia in this offseason?
Here's the question. I agree with Coach, right? Coach wants to define close the gap. Before I get into there, George, give us your definition of closing the gap.
Okay. Last year, we would have walked in saying, I was saying 7 or 8 wins for Washington, and I think we would have said what? 10-11 for Philadelphia, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's fair. So we're talking about a 3 to 4 or 5 win gap between the two. So have they closed the gap to where instead of 3 to 4 or 5 wins, it's 1 or 2? And can that gap be made up? Have they closed the gap close enough that it can be made up if Jaden Daniels takes another step forward? That's what I would say is, in terms of enough, are they close enough that Jaden Daniels can make up the difference? I guess that's the way. That's the best way I would put it.
Okay, when you put it that way, let's say we know that Jaden Daniels alone won Washington 3 games last year, right? We can say he won Washington 3 games by himself last year. Talk about the Hail Mary play. You can talk about the second Philadelphia game that he won for Washington last year. I would give him one more game.
Cincinnati.
The Cincinnati game, you can say he won for Washington last year as well. Closing the gap. Have Washington made some productive moves to combat the Philadelphia Eagles? I can say yes. They made some moves. Some of the moves they made will be able to combat the Philadelphia Eagles, right? You talk about the offensive lineman to make sure that the Washington Commanders make sure that Jaden Daniels stays upright. That is a move that Washington made. They had to get better on the offensive line, right? So they can say they closed the gap on the offensive line. The offensive line has gotten better. Bringing Larry Tunsil in, make your offensive line that much better, right? He's an all-pro left tackle. This is the guy that you want to set your offensive line on, right? So again, that has made them better close the gap, because we know anybody who watched the championship game know that the game was won up front, right? The game was won up front, regardless of what happened. It was won up front on the defensive end of the ball and on the offensive end, because Philadelphia defense wore the Washington offensive line out. Their line was Jaden didn't have time to throw. It was, and Washington was still in that game. Let's make mention. Washington was still in that game all the way up to the second quarter. So have they made some grounds on the offensive line? Yes. Moving Brandon Coleman to the right tackle, I think it was a great move, right? Bringing some depth into the offensive line. Young guy Connolly, I'm still out on him. I got to see how he plays, right? Still, you asking a 21-year-old kid to go out there and Jaleel Carter. You know what I'm saying? And you're asking a 21-year-old kid to do some things that some grown veterans couldn't do last year against the Philadelphia Eagles. So again, that's one point there. Have they closed that gap offensive line wise? I think they closed the gap. Who has the better line? I still say that the Philadelphia defensive line currently, right now, as we speaking on May 29th, their defensive line is better than Washington's. Washington's offensive line, right? I'm be honest here. Bring Wole in there. All right. Be honest here. What's up, man? Be honest with that. So I think the offensive line is better right now than Washington. So, excuse me. Oops. Sorry about that.
You go, Glen.
Get you straight, man.
You trying to get back to the low level, right? I feel you. Go ahead. Do what you gotta do.
I go. I got you. And so
I think you go. There you go. I got you.
Yeah, you got it. And so get you straight. So you asking that. So that offensive line point, I give the edge to the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, when you get to the backfield and we talk about quarterback, Washington has the edge. To me, Jaden Daniels is a better quarterback than Jalen Hurts, right?
Yeah.
In my opinion, right? At this level, at this time. So that quarterback edge goes to the Washington. That gap is, to me, Jaden Daniels is the best quarterback in the NFC East. And y'all can come at me if you want me to, right? But I believe he's the best quarterback. He's the best quarterback in the NFC East. So that point, you get to the Washington Commanders. Now, when we talk about in the backfield, this is where the offensive line has made Washington that much better. I think this line this year, that running game will be better, and it won't be because of Jaden Daniels, right? It'll be because of the running backs they have in the backfield. When you add a Deebo Samuels to the backfield, you add Brian Robinson Jr. to the backfield. You still have Austin Eckler in the backfield, right? So I'm just going to me, I don't know about y'all. Y'all chat, let me know. I only think 3 running backs make this team, right? Maybe 3 running backs make this team, maybe four, right? If you got to add a 4th one, it's between McNichols, it's between Rodriguez. What's my man? Everybody talking about the 7th round draft pick? Can't remember his name.
Corey Krosky Merritt.
Yeah, So you got 3 spots. So if you get 4, somebody playing special teams, maybe I give you 4 running backs, right? So now you got Debo in the mix. So again, with a shorter offensive line, Washington now can establish a running game. When you establish a running game and you have pieces, now you can establish the play action. Now you can go a little bit more with the zone read with Jaden Daniels. So now Cliff Kingsbury can play different things. So in this instance, I have to give Washington have made some improvements on the all the backfield skill players. So that gap right there I give to Washington, because when you throw in Terry McLaurin, you throw into a healthy Noah Brown, because I know what people say he's good for the Hail Mary, but you got to look at Noah Brown. Other than the Hail Mary, he was Jaden Daniels' favorite receiver prior to getting hurt. He was the guy. We talk about Zach Ertz that was there. So again, that side I give to Washington. The secondary, when you talk about Washington secondary, they have improved, but they're not tested, right? They're improved, but not tested, because what happens here, you still have Devontae Smith, you still have A.J. Brown, and we saw how A.J. Brown abused Marshawn Lattimore the last time they played. So when you talk about the gap closing and certain areas, Washington has closed the gap, and certain areas time will tell. The problem here, George, that on paper they closed the gap. The thing that irritates me is we won't know until December.
That's my point. Yeah,
we can say we won't know. It could be we won't know until they match up, and they don't match up until December, right? So you can have 2 teams that have identical records going into December, facing each other. 2 teams that could be undefeated in the division, and we won't know if they really close the gap until they go head to head in December. On paper, I'm gonna say yes. Washington has closed the gap against the Philadelphia Eagles for some of the reasons that you named, because some of the key people that they lost, the Mekhi Bectons of the world, and guys like that. So again, yes, Washington has closed the gap, but how much? Only time will tell, and December will know.
It sounds like you're saying they have not closed the gap enough. I mean, you didn't give a definitive answer on that, but that's what it sounds like to me.
To me, looking at it, I don't think they closed the gap enough, because some things are unproven. That offensive line is unproven right now, and that's why I can't say they completely closed. If the offensive line come out week 1 or week 2, down in week 5, and they had dominant offensive line and they can run the ball, good. The defensive line, I forgot to mention defensive line. I need to see the defensive line stop somebody, right? The defensive line needs to stop. The defensive line, you can't go. To close the gap on a team like the Philadelphia Eagles, right, who likes to run the football, right, you have to be able to. You can't be ranked in the bottom half, right, the bottom 3 or 4 of run defense, right. You can't be giving up 4.5 yards a pop, right. You can't wait and wish that that Ben Johnson will keep making dumb and not giving Jahmyr Gibbs the ball, right. that you can't do that. So that's the way Washington needs to close that defensive line. Some of the guys you mentioned, the Kinshaws of the world, the Kinlaws of the world, have to prove themselves. Like Adam Peters went to get a guy. You lost Jonathan Allen. Whether you like him or not, he was an all-pro, right? He was a Pro Bowler. Whether you can't deny the fact that he played well. So you didn't bring in. It's not like you put a Jonathan Allen. You brought a Jonathan Allen in, right? You didn't bring you brought a Larry Tunsil, so you can kind of Sam Cosby. That's good. You didn't bring that guy in on a defensive line to match the pedigree of Jonathan Allen. So we can't say that defensive line right now. That defensive line has to be pieced together. And so those are the things that needs to happen with this Washington team. I like this team, but I'm not going to drink that Kool-Aid and say they closed that gap on the world champions as of yet. They made some steps forward, right? But the way that that's only when you talk about closing the gap, right? That means either you really going to overtake Philly or Philly going to stop moving. And I didn't see Philly stop moving. Philly made some moves. So you're going to have to make your moves going to be just as big as Philly's move in order to close the gap, because we both running at the same pace. Wole ran track. He running at the same pace, and I stretched.
I run track. I ain't fast to run track. No, my knees can't. Paul, my knees, bro.
So you watching track. in order to close the gap, you got to run a little bit faster, right? Yeah. Or the team or the person has to slow down. Has Washington ran fast enough to catch Philly? Philly's still running because their draft was good.
Yeah, I see. I agree with
everything. You part of my answer, but I want Wole to go first.
I pretty much agree with everything Glenn said, man. For real, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I think Washington got better, but I don't know if they closed the gap because at the end of the day, like we grew up Redskins Commander fans, and what do we as fans of like old school fans? What do we always say has helped this team win the Super Bowl? Like, what has helped this team win the Super Bowl? The O line, and D line, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's in the trenches.
Mm-hmm.
Who got the better team in the trenches?
Oh, it's Philadelphia.
There you go. And I don't know that Washington enough to even close the gap like that. You got Tunsil, that was great, but you still got question marks on the other side. Like you want Connerly to be that dude. You want Brandon Coleman to be good at guard. Like that's not a guarantee. That's a hope. Like that Eagles O-line has been established. That's a thing. That's a thing. Their O-line has been the reason why Jalen Hurts is as good as he is because of their O-line. He gets time in the pocket and he can survey the field without worrying about pressure. Saquon Barkley is a cheat code. You put him on against that O-line, we saw what he is. He's even better with that line. He's already one of the best running backs in the game. You put him in that O-line, he's even better. So like their O-line D-line combination is scarier compared to Washington. And that to me, I don't know Washington did enough on both sides. I think they did some work on the O-line. So I'm not going to say they didn't. But on that D-line, I don't think they did enough to say they can get pressure on that Eagles O-line. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say that. Like who they lost. I mean, they lost. I'm not a big fan of Dante Fowler, but they lost the guy who got 10 plus sacks. Who they replacing with? They lost. Glenn mentioned all pro Jonathan Allen. Like everybody likes the size of Kinlaw, but the Kinlaw ain't a better player than Jonathan Allen. No, he's not. Track record in terms of history, and we're looking at body of work and history now. Can he have a better year than Jonathan Allen? It's possible. Don't get it twisted. I'm not saying he can't, but I'm saying the body of work has told us that he's not better than Jonathan Allen. That's just the body of work. That's nothing to do with favoritism, this, that, and the other. It's the body of work and what we've seen out of players, right? So I'm not sure if they did enough, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna pan out to say like Washington hasn't closing the gap a little bit. I feel like again the cheat code is Jaden Daniels. That's like the cheat code, and when you got a Jaden, you're hoping that he can kind of make magic with it. I think and offensively adding Deebo Samuels, you're hoping and that helps you out offensively, and also adding to the point where the Eagles lost Slay. That's still an important player. So you're hoping that maybe you catch up a little bit in that end. But in terms of the totality of winning football games, and I can't lie to myself because I would say it if it was the other way around. The trenches is what wins football games. And we're looking at the trenches. The Eagles got the best. They got the best on both sides, to be real with you. They got a better offensive line than us, and they got a better defensive line than us. So to me, like, yeah, did we move inches up to the gap? Did we move up inches? Yeah, we moved up some inches. But in terms of saying like we're the better team, nah, I can't say that.
Yeah. Before you go, George, I gotta quote Ric Flair. All right. Flair said this all the time. It wouldn't be me to beat a man.
Yeah.
You got to beat the man.
Facts.
That is true.
And until you beat the man in a meaningful game, and that means January, right? A meaningful game means January or win the division. That gap is still open. And it's still wide because the last taste in your mouth against the Philadelphia Eagles was not good. But your whole season can't be built for the Philadelphia Eagles. You need to take one week at a time.
That too. Definitely. That's a good point.
But we said it at the start of the offseason. Everything they did was through the prism of trying to beat Philadelphia.
Was it?
I think a lot of it was. Okay. I think you look at Tunsil and Connerly.
That's a good point.
I think that's you look at the secondary and how they got torched. That's how I feel about it.
I'm with you.
Coach Lombard said something interesting in the chat that I think, and it comes to something when I'm probably the most optimistic one of the three of you. Yeah. But here we are. He made the point that Washington is at that top 10 roster now, but that Philadelphia still has number one roster. I absolutely agree with both of those points, and I think if you take the whole totality of it, then I think he's right, and I think Washington has closed the gap. because I think Coach Lombard would have had our roster a lot further down the rankings than last year.
Mm-hmm.
And I would have certainly said that at best we were a top half roster and we had turned over a lot of people. So I'm going to take this offseason in two parts. I think in the free agency, in terms of additions and subtractions, I think Washington closed the gap a lot. And that's not because Washington did just super, super terrifically great. It's because when you win the Super Bowl, you're going to lose players because other teams are going to want your players. Philadelphia lost a lot. Now, they'll argue, and quite rightly, that they have got the young guys behind them, and that's going to lead to my next point. But you've lost some really great players and some stalwarts in your team. And I think in terms of players that were kind of still in their prime, they lose Becton. I think that's a big loss. That said, for how much Washington might have closed the gap in free agency, the gap widened on draft night. And that isn't just that Washington only had 5 picks. It's that Philadelphia had so many and did so well. And I'm got it up now. Jihad Campbell, who I would have been thrilled for Washington to take at 29.
Kill him, man.
Andrew Makuba, I'd have been thrilled to have him in round 2. And then for me, the pick that is maybe my favorite pick they made was, and this is again a little of state of Virginia bias, but Antoine Powell-Ryland was one of the best pass rushers in the country, and they got him in round 6.
That's crazy. I liked him a lot.
That's just
crazy.
Crazy.
Yeah, I like him too.
I couldn't believe it. Number 209, Antoine Powell-Ryland. It's like Howie freaking Roseman. I mean, he just, it's like he has a spell on everybody. This is like what you see in the NBA draft when the 1 or 2 really good GMs just beat the hell out of everybody else. So for me, that's the trouble, is that Philadelphia has has kind of widened the gap back out a little bit at the draft, and there's such a good young roster. So there's still, believe it or not, is still room for them to improve, which is really scary given they lost 1 game since September last year. But for 1 drop, I think we'd be talking about 16 wins in a row. We'd either be talking about 15 or 16 wins in a row. So in that sense, I think we all have to be calm. And look, Glenn and I, we looked at the schedule and did the projection, and we were pretty high on what Washington could do. But let's be honest, it's going to take 12 or 13 wins minimum to get over Philadelphia. And that's minimum. It's got to be a lot more than that. Yes, I know they won 12 games last year. They were probably about a 9-win roster at best. They had some luck, and they had Jaden Daniels, and that's what they got there. And so we have to remember, if we're going to say that,
good coaching, good coaching on.
Good coaching too, and look,
head coaching, good leadership.
Even if a lot of us made fun of Kellen Moore, or at least I was guilty of it. Maybe Philadelphia losing him hurts. I don't know. We'll see. We've got one thing that helps Washington maybe more than anybody else is that they have way more continuity in their coaching staff than anybody.
Good point.
Almost in the NFL, and that's massive. But for Washington to get over Philadelphia, we are putting a lot on Jaden Daniels. I'm not saying it's impossible, but we are putting a lot on him.
Well, I want to add something to you too, George. What you said. Coaching brings confidence. And when you talk about this roster, Coach had them ranked at 32, right? Some people had them ranked at the bottom half or worse in the division. What I've heard, even when I coach, right, one thing you can't coach is confidence.
That's right.
Confidence has to be within inside. Brotherhood has to be inside. You playing for your next man has to be inside. This coaching staff of former head coaches. See, this is what I want. This is what I said. I said it last year in the offseason. He didn't bring in just regular coordinators. He brought in former head coaches, right? Former head coaches who know how to motivate people, who understand the culture, who was all on one page. What did they do when they first came to Washington? Anthony Lynn took the running backs out. Cliff Kingsbury went with the quarterbacks. They built relationships, right? Built relationship with the teams. When you look at Philadelphia, they have relationships, right? You mentioned they going on their winning streak. It's because they built relationship with one another. They were playing for one another. The division is tough because we haven't even got to the Giants and the Cowboys yet, right? This division, is up for grabs because we haven't had a repeat champion, right, in a long time. So that means Washington has an opportunity to become divisional champions. But it's going to be tough. Coach said the lucky wins with the Giants, Bears, Saints. Lucky wins.
I mean, yeah.
I can say a lucky loss. I can say
the
lucky
first
loss.
Giants game could fall in that category.
Yeah,
The first Giants game.
Well, a loss that could
the
have
Saints wasn't the Saints. They just almost blew it. I don't want to call that Saints lucky. They blew it. They dominated Saints. They weren't lucky. They were lucky. If on the flip side, you could say the Saints. If the Saints won, that was a lucky win for the Saints. We dominated.
Well, then replace that with the second Dallas game. You could arguably replace that with the second Dallas game.
I think that was a good one too.
Or you can say a loss they shouldn't have had. The Pittsburgh loss. If Zach Ertz had a first down. So, you see what I'm saying?
We can always make this argument. Yeah,
no, you can always make those arguments. But this team, to close the gap on Philly, have to be able to stay together like last year, right? And not rely on Jaden Daniels as much.
Very good point. Yeah, I agree with that.
Right? So everybody gets involved.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody gets involved because Jaden Daniels is the catalyst, right? But we see when Jaden go out, Mariota can do the same, can play. But everybody has to play their role. To close the gap on this Philadelphia Eagles team, I think Washington has to keep pressure on Philly all throughout the season. That Philly has to feel the pressure of Washington coming down the neck. Because guess what? Philly's the standard. Let's be honest. They're the world champions.
No, they're the standard.
They are the standard. They're where you want to be at, whether you like the coach or not, whether he makes bonehead plays, he called bonehead plays, all that, right? So you have to beat the team that's there. They've gotten better. Have they improved their players? Yes. Players have improved. Right? Mm-hmm. Players have gotten better. Front office has gotten better. Attitude has gotten better. Community has gotten better. The crowds has gotten better. Everything around this team is a buzz. And if you look at that, I'm not just looking at the play on the field. I'm looking at community as well. Mm-hmm. When you talk about close the gap, this organization has closed. We was the laughing stock of the league a couple years ago. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The team was the laughing stock of the league. So in that sense, as a totality, this team has closed the gap to be what they need to be, right? A top tier team, top 10, coach says, right? Washington has it's so much a buzz, man. George, we talked about it last week. Like, it is May, and we haven't missed a week yet talking about the Commanders, right? Because there's so much to talk about around this team. So again,
because it's worth talking about because they win.
Right, but everything is changing. So you see the changes to the shit. You see the changing of the. So we may have a changing of a guard, right? But it's coming slowly. It's coming slowly, and I'd rather have a slow burn, right, than a fast overtake.
Yeah, I wish we were playing Philadelphia earlier. The fact that we're not playing them until December just eats me up.
George Sanil said, would they still try to trade for Hendrickson? I don't think they don't got.
No, not if you got to pay. You got to pay Terry McLaurin and you got to pay Jaden in a couple of years. You don't make that trade.
Yeah. And the draft capital too, man. Like you can't give everything, man. You got to keep it down the road. We blew it. Yeah. Flip side, we blew the game against the Steelers and Cowboys. Agreed.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't go into games you should have lost or could have lost. I think that could be a real funny thing. Taj, what's up? Taj said, I'm not running from the Jaden effect. Why we shouldn't depend on him so much, but I won't run from the cheat code like Jordan, Kobe, Mahomes. I will relish the fact we have one of them. Yeah. He's him. But here's the question, Taj. He's him, and we know NFL teams that have Washington on their schedule looking how to stop him. That's true. I'll say this much.
They had all off season to try to figure out how to stop him. And so he has to figure out, what are they going to throw at me? And can I be at a different level? Because he has to grow. He can't be the same Jaden from last year. Because defensive coordinator is not going to be the same. The way they play is not the same.
Now, I do agree. I think and you got to look at it like teams are going to try to take certain things away. They're gonna watch tape. Like, even be real. Like, I'm gonna be real with you, and we'll get into this team. Like, to me, the team that played, who probably studied him the best and played him the best, was probably the Dallas Cowboys. I felt like they played him the best. We saw he didn't look the same, like, and again, then compared to everybody else. So they have something on him that they're used to, like they do. It's even a game where Mariota came in and took over. Like, Jaden wasn't playing that well. So, and the game that we lost to FedEx. If it wasn't for that play, like the Terry play, he wasn't having a great game that game either. So there's something. So to Glen's point, they're gonna figure out things, to do to kind of try to hinder him and slow him down. But it's up to the team. Like, that's why it's up to the team to kind of counter that. Because again, I always say this, like, too, football's a team game. We like to give everybody, like, to give the quarterback all the glory, all the praise. And it's not really fair to, like, in terms of the team totality, because you look at the greatest Super Bowl champions, winners, or whatever, some of your favorite quarterbacks, Tom Brady's the GOAT, right? But Tom Brady, his first 3 Super Bowls, the Patriots had one of the best defenses in football, and all he did was manage a game. We don't say that. We don't go back and say he was a manager. We say he's the GOAT. But if you go back in history, that was a team effort. Even like
McGinnis and Teddy Bruschi.
Yeah, exactly. Or even like when they came back from Atlanta, the defense didn't play good initially, but they had to get stops for time to get all those points. So it goes hand in hand. Like, that's my thing. Like, I know we like to give the quarterback all the credit, but you do need help for him to win. For him to get us what we need to get to. Everybody else got to step up. It ain't going to just be Jordan. It ain't Jaden. It ain't like basketball is a little different. You know what I mean? To a certain, and basketball is still a team game, but basketball is a little different. One dude can get hot, can almost propel you to a victory. In football, it's one game elimination. It's hard for one dude to go on a run by himself to win you a whole Super Bowl, period. That's just hard. It's hard in football. And it is what it is. So the team has to step up regardless. It ain't going to be all on Jay. To Glen's point, you can't put it all on him. People are going to have to step up. You're going to have to have a better defense. When the Saints had Drew Brees and that was a high-powered offense, their defense wasn't stopping everybody in terms of 3 and outs and getting yardage and stopping yardage, but they got a bunch of turnovers. That was their superpower. Every Super Bowl winner that you think of, it's a team thing. Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl because that team as a whole was amazing. That defensive line took over the game. They stopped Patrick Mahomes. Saquon Barkley. He didn't everybody wins you a football game. I think it's a wild thing. Like, your favorite quarterback, or like other than like Brady and Mahomes, them dudes, like your top tier quarterbacks don't win bowls. It's the team that wins bowls. If you look at it, other than and you can make the argument that those Kansas City Chiefs teams don't get respect because of Mahomes. Like, those defenses, like Spags coaches that defense up and play all the time. They stop folks. It ain't just Mahomes. It looks good and it sounds good, and he makes the game-winning drive, but they're not in the game if it wasn't for their defense. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm saying. Like, it's a team game regardless. So for Jaden, back to the point, in this division, like, even we look at the Eagles, that's why I say, like, the Eagles are a team that they need, like, that the gap maybe a little bit, but not as much. I mean, it's not, to me, it isn't shortened as much, because at the end of the day, as a team, as an overall collective team, I don't know if they've done enough. And you can, even with Jayden, you know what I mean? Jayden can win you, steal you a couple games. But if Jayden's the only one balling, you still won't win, because that is still, because at the end of the day, it's a team game.
It's contagious, man. Winning brings winning, right? And Taj, I agree. He is the one. He's that guy, right? Mm-hmm. I had a conversation with somebody the other day. It was Patriots fans. Like, what do you think Washington would have been with Drake May? I'd have been like, out of the playoffs, right? I'm just be honest. It was out of the playoffs, because Jayden, as I mentioned earlier, Jayden won 3 games, so that would have put Washington at 9-8. 9-8 wouldn't have cut it last year, right? So, so that he's him. I think they put enough around him offensively, right, to put points on the board. Yeah. To me, the offense doesn't scare me to close the gap. And I said it again, it's the defense, right, that close the gap. The defense has to. The defense has to close the gap. I agree. The offense doesn't have to close the gap. The defense has to close the gap.
Agreed. That's who has to close the gap. It's nothing to do with the offense. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I like the signing of Debo. I think Mike said that we got Debo and Terry. You're right, Mike. We did, but we were still scoring 30 plus a game anyway. That to me was never really the issue for me. Like, yeah, a more consistent run game. Obviously, that's what we would all want. That, right? That's the truth. But if we're at the end of the day, your offense is the job. Of your offense is to do what? To score, right?
Mm-hmm.
We score like 30, almost like 30 points a game. That's not an offensive problem. So
remember, we went several games. We went 4 games or something like that. We only punted once, or it was crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah, so it's not like when I look at this team, when you talk about they add this offensive player, it's good. Like, yeah, we're gonna have to outscore people. Then I'm with you, bro. I'm so with you. Like, it's a good thing to have a Debo. Like, don't get twisted. I was ecstatic. It's good to have a Laramie Tunsil. I was ecstatic about that too. So you're not gonna hear me complain about that. But on that defense side of the ball, like to Glen's point, that's where we really want to have this argument, like about, or this debate. I like an argument. This debate about closing the gap, right? That's where it is. Glen said it right. That's where it is. Has the defense closed the gap compared to taking on that Eagles offense? That's what it is. That's what it is. Because this offense could score with anybody in the league, regardless. I don't care. They could score with anybody in the league. Has this defense done enough to close the gap against that Eagles offense? That's what it is. Point blank, period. If they close the gap a lot, then yeah, they're there. Because again, that offense can score with anybody. They can score 25 on anybody. They can put 30 on anybody. That's not the problem. Has Washington's defense, with the moves they made, draft picks, the line itself, have they done enough to hold down that Eagles offense? And if the answer is yes, then we could talk about this team possibly winning the NFC East.
All right. So that is a great last word on that. Very interesting answers. I did not expect that that you guys would both be as cold on that as you were.
Mm-hmm.
So now we got to talk about the teams that finished behind Washington. We're going to start with Dallas because I think there's going to be a lot of disagreement on this one from certain quarters. Dallas is interesting. They add Joe Milton to help back up Dak, Miles Sanders and Giovanni Williams at running back, George Pickens, of course, at wide receiver. It's a big one. They get Dante Fowler away from Washington. They lose Cooper Rush, Rico Dowdle, Brandon Cooks, Zach Martin retires, DeMarcus Lawrence, 9 picks in the draft. Tyler Booker, their first round pick, certainly addressing an area that they needed to address, I think, badly. And I love their next 2 picks, Ezaraku from Boston College, who I think a lot of Washington fans would have been happy to see him be a Commander, and Sharon Ravel was somebody a lot of people I think would have been happy to see be a Commander as well. I know a lot of folks think that Dallas is going to bounce back because Dak's healthy. I am not as bullish, but I will happily cede the floor on this one. Wole, has Dallas closed the gap behind on Washington?
Damn, my hate is real. So I'm trying not to have my hate in this. I'm trying to be like a real individual. I'll say, out of consistency, to be of all fairness, because they played Washington the best, out of like other than the Cowboys, other than the Eagles, obviously in the division, I will say yes. And it's within this caveat. Like, I love Ezaraku. I think that was a stud they picked up, and I think you pair him with my God. I'm sorry, I'm having a moment. My God, what am I having?
Parsons?
Yeah, thank you. When you pair him with Micah Parsons, that's a problem. You know what I mean? Like, that's a serious problem. Like, you're already moving that guy. You're already moving Parsons around. Now you have another guy, I think, that you can move around as well. You know what I mean? In terms of trying to be a pass rush. And I said, I'm gonna say that, and I'm being honest. Like, I'm not saying it's just, I'm being real. Like, they really did play Washington the best. And even without wins and losses, defensively, I think they played Washington the best out of anybody. To be real with you, even the Eagles, I thought they played us better. I think the Eagles had better players, right? Like, better talented players, but I thought they played us the best. Like, they didn't, like, Jayden wasn't a threat out to run outside the pocket. Like, it wasn't like they took away a lot of things from Jayden, And then when he threw it, it was in short windows. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he can do whatever he wanted to against that team. So I think Dallas is definitely shortening it up. It's all about health, though. I think, like Todd said, if they're healthy, I agree. I agree with this. If they're healthy, I think they do have an opportunity. You know, and they were competing in games against us with Cooper Rush and folks like that. Like even like oh boy, Trey Lance was competitive. Like so, I'm just saying like they've closed the gap with health, getting Dak back. Obviously, like you know, I'm still interested to see how Crash Out and Lamb work together. Like that thing. That's the only thing I'll be real with you. That's the only thing I want to say. No, it won't work. But I'm trying to go off of just being. I'm trying to be real objective right now. Like I'm trying to be real objective. So just because of like some of the moves they made in the draft, they had a good draft too. The Cowboys had a good draft too as well. I think they closed the gap. I think it's just to be fair, they did close the gap. But it's all like Taj's point. It's all predicated on health, though. To be real with you.
Do you want me to go or you want to go, Glenn, on this one?
I'll go. I think the health situation is key. I still not 100% on Dallas's running game. All right, the running game is still shaky to me. Brian Schottenheimer, that's head coach, to me makes them lack a little bit.
Deluxe says, I like this one, Deluxe. Yeah,
it's gonna be lax a little bit because I'm not 100% sure on his discipline as a head coach. Right, young guy. Right, you got guys like Pickens. You talk about Crash Out, CeeDee Lamb. Who controls that? Who makes sure that
his dad is Marty. Marty was like a disciplinarian. So
yeah, Marty was a disciplinarian, but you're not. He's not Marty.
I know, I'm joking. I'm saying no.
Yeah, he's not Marty. He is. Let's not. Can we be real? So we're being real here. He is the puppet that Jerry Jones wanted to be coach. Right. Jerry Jones chose Brian Schottenheimer for a reason, because he can control him a little bit, because he can tell him what can be done. Right? He did all the coaches that was out there. Why did Jerry Jones not go get Bill Belichick? Because Bill Belichick wasn't going to put up with what Jerry Jones wants Brian Schottenheimer to put up with. Right? Yeah, so again, that to me hinders the Cowboys' gap. Health is the biggest thing, because can the Cowboys stay healthy? They do have Michael Parsons. The secondary has not gotten better. Their secondary.
He'll be back. We'll be back healthy, right? Diggs, right? He'll be healthy this year, right?
He should be.
I'm just saying, like they had a lot of injuries.
The gap is. They won 7 games last year?
Yeah, with an injured squad.
With 7 games with an injured squad last year with Cooper Rush the quarterback. 7 games, played Washington tough, right? Played Washington real tough. If it wasn't for the Mariota miracle, right?
They lose both games.
They lose.
They tried to win. They tried to win that game. They tried to win that game too.
Then again, if we say that, then Washington a field goal kick away from going to overtime. You know, extra point away from going to overtime.
No, I said like that, but that was even lucky. That's what I'm saying. Like even that play was lucky. You know what I mean? I how I did it is not really. I tried to how I said, because at the end of the day, like you go off head-to-head matchups, right? And head-to-head last year, they really played Washington, and I was so mad because they didn't have anybody. That's what blew me. They really didn't have anybody, and they really played us tough. And now they're gonna have talent back now. Like they have talent back now. It's not like the team. Like we're talking about if healthy. Like we're going off of if healthy, not injuries. Like if injuries have they have I could say like Dak will probably get hurt. Like I could say that because Dak get hurt a lot. He get hurt a lot. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'm not gonna.
If Dak doesn't get hurt, this is a 10-win football team.
Exactly. That's my point. There you go.
If they won 7 last year, Dak doesn't get hurt. This is a 10-win football. This is a 10-win football team.
Even if you don't like that. Yeah.
So with 10-7, this team has closed the gap because we said here on this show that Washington was going to win 12, 13 games.
Yeah.
And so if Dallas wins 10, they close the gap.
Yeah, just try to be fair. But go ahead, George.
No. I agree. I totally agree with you. It is totally agree with you. Dak makes a difference. The Dak factor is the difference. And Trey Lance is the backup quarterback now because Russ is gone.
No, isn't Trey Lance,
it's Joe Milton who they traded for.
Yeah, Milton.
Joe Milton. Okay, Joe Milton. So again, with Dak,
crazy,
they close the gap. With Joe Milton, they're picking number 2 next year. Well, anyway,
my man Paul loves Joe Milton. Go ahead, Jordan. Go ahead, Jordan.
I am completely and utterly and I'm not. I think when you take his salary into account, Paul, I kind of agree with that because that matters. The price point matters.
Yeah, agreed.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Dallas to me is headed for the rocks. First, you mentioned Brian Schottenheimer, who nobody was going to hire as a head coach.
Nobody.
It is ludicrous when you look at his record. I mean, he's been a long-time assistant. And what has he accomplished as assistant? Has he had any really great offenses? Been part of any real championship teams as an offensive coordinator? No. This guy should not be a head coach in this league. He's been a decent assistant, Marty's son and all that. I think a lot of us made fun of Mike McCarthy and thought he was terrible. But he got that Dallas team with not a lot of talent to play very hard, and I think that's why they won 7 games last year. Wole, to the point that you made, and why they played Washington so well.
Good point, George. Good
and
point.
I'm looking at a completely overhauled running back room because we mentioned you talk about the running backs not having a question. They brought the 2 in that I mentioned. They also drafted 2 running backs, Jaden Blue and Phil Maffa. Jaden Blue in round 4, round 5, Phil Maffa in round 7. So that's going to be That's been one of the most interesting things for me during preseason is which Dallas running back's going to take the helm here. Because, who knows between the 4 guys they have. That offensive line is in transition. The kid Booker they drafted in round 1, he better be the goods. Because I'm looking at this offensive line. Tyler Guyton hadn't shown me much yet. Cooper Beebe's really good at center.
He's like
Tyler Smith. Terrence Steele. Well, I don't know. I mean, again, I'm looking at them. I'm wondering about Pickens, and if he has now, Pickens may play nice. He may play nice even if he's only, because I think the question is if we're sitting here at week 7 or 8, and CeeDee Lamb has 60 targets and he's got 25. It could blow up. But let's just suppose for a moment George Pickens plays nice. Okay, that's great. I don't think they can protect this quarterback. I think Dak is plateaued as a player. Never mind what Paul said and the contract. And I think Dallas needed to blow this up and they didn't. And I'm looking at that coach saying there is no way, especially if they have any injuries at all, that they're going to get out of. Plus, you're going to have distractions, the biggest one being the Micah Parsons contract. Because I guarantee you that if that doesn't get done before the season starts, that is going to be a story every week. Every week, all the way into January. And we're going to see all these jersey swaps with Parsons with the Eagles or Parsons with this team or that team.
Well,
and they are not built to deal with distractions.
Hey George, I do want to ask you.
Not able to deal with it.
Oh, hey, George, ask this question. All right, if it wasn't the Cowboys, would you say all this? I'm being real. I'm being honest with you. If you think about it, I'll put it this way, George. You win 7 games. Just as simplistic as possible. You win 7 games, right? And this is one thing about Mark Schottenheimer. I'm not saying that he's going to be a great coach. I don't think McCarthy lost that locker room, so that's a whole different argument. You could tell how those dudes were talking about him.
Yeah.
And the thing about what they have with Schottenheimer, the only blessing, it is continuity. He coached their offense last year. So they do have continuity. And he's going to be only aimed to coach the offense. The defense will be handled by the DC. But anyway, just saying and just simplistically is this. You win 7 games, right, with an injured hit team. You don't think they with that coming back, you don't think they can be better. With the players they added, with a better roster. They won 7 games with Cooper Rush. Like I'm just being like, if it was another I'm just being real.
And I give you all of that, and you actually asked the perfect question right at your start when you said if this wasn't Dallas, would you be saying that? And I wouldn't be, but because it is Dallas and because it is a vortex of nonsense at this point. Okay. You think about what Glen said, which is so true. Washington was a laughing stock franchise 2 years ago. The only difference between Dallas now and Washington 2 years ago is that Washington just didn't have any talent and lost more.
True.
They couldn't get talent. Dallas has talent, but they are just as much a laughing stock franchise. That Schottenheimer, the way they handled their coaching hiring thing, again, it was just like Jim Zorn. It was exactly like what happened with Jim Zorn in Washington all those years ago.
Mhm.
And I think Dallas needs to hit rock bottom. I think they haven't hit it yet. And again, if they win, everything could go right. If like you say, they got talent, they got a healthy Dak, they've got two really good receivers. They do have some of the talent to do what you say and win 10 or 11 games and be a playoff team. Coach Lombard thinks they're going to be the last playoff team. And you got to take his opinion. I take his opinion seriously. I think it's going the other way. I think they are hitting the rocks. I think they need to hit the rocks.
I don't think
so that somebody in there will get a hold of Jerry Jones and say, "You've got to change what you're doing."
Deluxe has a good question. He says, and this is a real question. He says, "Is Dak really that Dax anymore?" So I'm gonna start with you, George. What is Dax to you? Is he the same Dak, or is he is he lesser than with even Dak that you've seen in the past?
I'll take it in two parts. Physically, he's not the same Dak because he can't run and hurt you with his legs the way he used to.
Yeah.
I think of Dak kind of the way I think of the early Dak, the way I think of early Aaron Rodgers. It's not that he was a dynamic runner. It's that he could run and get first downs when the play was not working, and he could bail them out with his running ability.
Sure.
Here's the other problem. He's really not the early Dak in this regard. You could put the talent around him because he wasn't making a lot of money. And now he's making $60 million. And they do not have the talent requisite around him. Yes, they got two good receivers. They got a decent tight end. That offensive line is not where it needs to be. No one, and I think they're going to get shredded, especially in these division games with the Giants and the Eagles. I think those defensive lines are going to feast on Dallas as a result of this. And that's the biggest reason why I think the reason Dak is not the Dak he used to be is that you can't put the talent around him because you got to pay him all that money.
To answer the question, is Dak the Dak that he used to be? No, because he doesn't have the weapons that he used to have.
Yeah,
you had an Amari Cooper, right? You had a Micah Gallup. You had a Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah, you get the run game.
Right? So he doesn't have the weapons that he used to have. Now all the pressure, if we think about it, is on Dak and CeeDee Lamb.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Pickens, maybe October, November, you start hearing Pickens' name, depending on how he does. But coming into the season, that pressure is on Dak Prescott, who makes a whole bunch of money, and CeeDee Lamb, who just got a whole bunch of money.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
So your two money players need to show up each and every week in order for this Cowboy team to close the gap.
See, I will say
Zeke wasn't garbage when they was winning. He
wasn't. Nah, I agree. I think the wide receivers are comparable to what he had with Gallup and Cooper. I like Cooper. Man, I like Cooper a lot though. I think Cooper's underrated. But CeeDee Lamb is putting up numbers, and I think with Crash Out, that's a good comparable number too. The problem with Crash Out is that Crash Out can just crash out, and then they can ruin the whole thing. But I don't like to. That's my bias though. Like I own this. My bias is like I expect Crash Out to ruin the whole thing. Like I do. Like that's my expectations. But to George said this, he may not. So if he doesn't spaz out, then it makes them a decent team, right? I think it makes them a decent team. So it's really that's my thing. And I try to take my bias out of that thought process and say just because I expect him to crash out, I mean he's going to crash out. Mm-hmm. He may be a model citizen because that's a behavioral thing. That's not a play football thing. So if he decides, if he matures up and says, you know what, I'm not going to act this way, then that's good for the Cowboys. That's something I can't predict. I can't predict his behavior patterns. I can't do that. So I can now only dissect the physical and the skill set, right? Compared to what I don't think he's, and I don't even think Crash Out is that thorough of a receiver, to be real with you. But I do think he's a thorough receiver in conjunction to a CeeDee Lamb. Like, I don't think he is, like, he's good, but I don't think he's elite, right? I don't think Crash Out's elite. I think he's good. I don't think he's elite.
No, he's
so
not.
Like, he can't separate. He just makes,
separation.
He makes unbelievable catches.
And there you go, George. So to me, but if you tell
otherwise he's Odell Beckham.
Odell got separation. He's different. He can get separation in his prime before the knee injury. He can get separation. Yeah. This kid don't get separation. He don't get separation. But he makes spectacular catches. He's good in the red zone. But you put that as a number 2, then that's a really good number 2. That's a very good number 2. So that is, to me, has potential to do something. That is, to me, potential to do some harbor or to be a problem for Washington. But again, I'll put that with the premise of, like, I have to give your flowers. Like, again, if a team played Washington good, I'm gonna always look at them differently. Like this, like the Giants, and even the Giants to a certain extent, they played as well. But I'm looking at this team in terms of talent. But I don't like that. I mean, Russell Wilson is the quarterback. Daniel Jones, the boogeyman's gone, so I ain't worried about the Giants. That's wild. Like, I don't even like that. I think Russell Wilson is a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I know it's blasphemy, but against Washington, it's a different animal. Daniel Jones is the boogeyman. I don't even want to see that. I'm glad to see that dude out of division. I ain't going to lie to y'all. Like, I'm so happy that Daniel. It's wild for me to say it because it's nasty work. He's such
we made bum quarterbacks. We made bum quarterbacks good.
But I am so happy that Daniel Jones is not in the division anymore. It's like you would think he Joe Montana when he plays Washington. Like, this dude is out of the division. It is amazing. Like, I feel like when I see the Giants on the schedule, I don't feel the pressure anymore. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Hey, we say what Mike said. Well, you just bet on us every game this season. Hey, bro.
It depends on the mojo, baby.
Depends how you going, man. Depends. Deluxe Steelers have moved on from many wide receivers. This is the first they traded early in a rookie contract. What did that say? Point. Oh, I know. He crashed out. He got issues. He crashed out. Deluxe.
Because all those receivers, a lot of those receivers they moved on from got big contracts somewhere else, too.
You know what?
Mike Tomlin does not tolerate nonsense.
And you know what? That always gets me, like, it's crazy. A lot of them dudes, when they go elsewhere, they're not the same. They're not the same dude. They're not like they're better in Pittsburgh than they are.
I mean, it's because one of the only ones that did well away from there was Plexico until he shot himself.
That's the only one. There's only like one. That's only you're right, Plexico. They typically don't do as well. Not to say they're bad. They don't do as well as they were with Pittsburgh. I know.
And I give it to Mike Tomlin. The head coach makes a difference because when you get an AJ Brown on a check, and then AJ Brown can go down to Tampa, and you Bruce Arians and AJ Brown can say, you know what, I ain't feel like playing no more deuces. That wouldn't happen in Pittsburgh.
Antonio Brown.
Antonio. Sorry, Antonio Brown.
I was like, dang, with AJ Brown.
How about Antonio Brown, right?
Yeah.
So again, coaching makes a difference here, but and again, goes back to my point earlier. Coaching is gonna make a difference in Dallas if Dallas close the gap or not.
And so we do a lot of this, like the Giants. Though. All right, so I'm going to the Giants. Right. So the Giants, like I said, like they don't have. I'm saying no. I'm not worried about the Giants, but because I'm not gonna lie. I'm not really worried about Sierra's husband. He doesn't like scare me. No, Sierra's husband doesn't scare me anymore. I felt like years ago when he was in Seattle, Sierra's husband was like that. Like, you know what I mean? He was. We always should be Sierra's husband. But we always used to be Sierra's husband. Like, we saw other than that, like, playoff game, we always do well against Sierra's husband, even when he was playing good football. But now Sierra's husband isn't as good as he used to be. Like even the game we lost to Sierra's husband at Northwest Stadium, where that dude, like, we lost. I was like, that's a game we should have lost. We should have beat the Steelers that game. But he didn't even look good. He had that one fluke play because of God damn, Benjamin St. Juice. Because Benjamin St. Juice couldn't check crash out. No, he wasn't crash out. Sorry, it wasn't crash out. Take that back. It was a dude with a messed up knee. It was Mike Williams, who was all jacked up.
Can I just set the whole Giants thing up? Since I know you started, but
go ahead. Set it up, bro. Go. I want you to set it up. Okay.
Set it up. You know, the overhaul we just talked about with the Cowboys and the running back room, well, that's what the Giants did in the quarterback room because other than Tommy DeVito. It's a brand new quarterback room with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston coming in. They also added Paulson Adebo, a pretty good corner, and Javon Holland at safety. Their key loss is Drew Lock, who was one of their quarterbacks they had. And, of course, Daniel Jones, they'd already lost him. Azeez Ojulari, who went to Philly. Isaiah Simmons and Adoree Jackson went to Philadelphia. The Giants, I thought, had a really good draft. I'm not the biggest fan of Jackson Dart, but that's an interesting pick to me. Abdul Carter was one of the most sure things there was in this draft. I would argue he was the second most sure thing in this draft behind Travis Hunter. Dart, they moved up to get him. Scatabo in round 4 is kind of interesting. And Marcus Embo in round 5 to help that offensive line. So you obviously think they haven't – I mean, it sounds like you don't think they've done any closing of the gap at all with the Giants.
No.
Wole. I kind of think they have, but continue.
They got Sarah's husband, man. Wait, let me see it. They got Sarah's husband. He ain't good no more. They ain't good no more. He ain't good no more. Like – I do like what they did with I like their defensive line though. I do like their defensive line a lot. I just think that at the end of the day, like if they're able to compete with Washington on the offensive side, because their offense, I don't respect their offense. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think Neighbors is nice, but I don't respect their offense. If they are able to compete with Washington, if Washington defense can't stop the Giants offense, I'm pissed off. Then Joe Witt Jr. needs to not be the coach anymore on defense. That's how, if we want this defense to be what we want it to be, we shouldn't be struggling with the Giants' offense. We can struggle. I mean, real. We can struggle with the Giants' defense, though. I'm not arguing that. But we should not be struggling with their offense. Like, they shouldn't be owning the time of possession or whatever. We're not. If that's the case, then our defense didn't make any strides this season.
Right. Yeah. We didn't. I mean, we didn't stop the running game because again, if you go back to Washington versus Pittsburgh with Sierra's husband, I'm gonna use Wole's term.
Thank you, bro.
All right. I'm gonna use the term. The Commanders shut him down for 3.5 of almost the whole game until towards the end. Right. They had Russell Wilson's number.
They did.
So when you talk about Dallas, I think the Giants have closed the gap on Dallas, but they have not closed the gap on Washington because it's too much of a gap to close. So have they gotten close to Dallas? Yeah, because I think Dallas barely beat them the first game. Dallas barely beat them 27-20 game, right? And then the second game they played, Dallas, I believe the Giants won that game. Let me double check here. So again, the gap has been closed in that division. Cowboys won both games 20-15 and then 27-20. So they closed the gap against Dallas. They added some pieces. You can't add Carter and those guys and not close the gap on defense. They closed the gap on defense a little bit. Have they done enough? No, they still don't have a running game, right? Got an old quarterback. And then if you get rid of the two old quarterbacks, you can go with Jackson Dart, who no one's proven on yet. And how much reps does Jackson Dart get in the future? To me, their front office is the reason why they don't close the gap. Right? Their front office is the reason why they don't close the gap. Until they change their front office, until they change some people there, the Giants will always be the laughing stock of the NFC East in this case. So change the front office, and then you'll see the Giants get a little bit better. Of course, they got a great pass rusher. That's good. That's only one guy. They had so many holes, so many needs that some people fill up. So we'll see.
I do think the Giants have closed the gap in this regard. I think it's easier for them to close it because they were coming from so far back. I'm looking at Brian Daboll, and I'm saying this is the man that found a way to win a lot of games with Daniel Jones the first year. Now, of course, he had Saquon, and that's when we all know now what a lot of us knew then is that Saquon's one of the best running backs, maybe the best running back in the NFL. He just needs the ball. I'm not as sure about Daboll being in trouble as other people because even for the Giants, as dysfunctional and ludicrous as they've been the last 7-8 years, you wouldn't move up in the draft. You wouldn't make a trade like that to go all the way up to 25 to theoretically select Jackson Dart ahead of the Rams, and a lot of people were talking about him going to the Rams at 26. If you weren't going to have this coach in long term, it would be ludicrous because I'm assuming that's Daboll's pick. Daboll wanted Jackson Dart and he got these other veterans so to be the bridge until there to hopefully win some games while they get Jackson Dart ready. But you do not trade up for Jackson Dart and then fire the coach that's behind that a year later, unless you're an organization that has completely lost its mind. Maybe they have. The Giants, for me, the same thing, the same question I have about Dallas, I have about the Giants.
Yeah.
We all know they have had a lot of issues at the offensive line, and they have invested a lot in terms of draft capital at offensive line. Are those guys going to get a lot better? Because I do like Tyrone Tracy, decent running back, and I kind of like Scattaboo in that system. I kind of feel like Scattaboo could be up to something in a Daboll offense. But that offensive line must get better.
He don't got no speed.
Must get better.
No.
So for me, I do think the Giants have closed the gap because, and it's also what you said, Wole, that defense is a lot better than what people realized. They got hung out to dry a lot.
Yeah.
And I got news for you.
You're
right. That defense is going to be tough. Abdul Carter is going to be tough. They're going to be that defense is going to make the Giants a real pain in the neck. And that's kind of why I think the Giants can finish third in this division. Because that's how down I am on the Cowboys.
I know you are, but their offense is not good. Like we talking about offense, defense, and team. I'm just talking about teams. Well, I'm gonna read Deluxe's question. Said, would the Giants be better with Danny Dimes or Sarah's husband this season? Really had to think about it. That's a good question. I know against Washington, the Giants would be better with Danny Dimes. I know that for a fact.
Yes.
I get everybody else. I think that they're probably better with Sarah's husband.
And we got to remember this too. Brian Daboll inherited Daniel
Jones. He never
wanted him.
He never wanted him.
Never wanted him.
He never wanted him, but he won games, George, and that's why he kept riding.
I understand that, but it's like if we're talking about Brian Daboll's being on the hot seat, if it was up to Brian Daboll, they wouldn't have got rid of Saquon Barkley. They would have got rid of Daniel Jones.
Hey, Deluxe, you're right. He will be starting because that trash.
Oh boy, well,
he's trash.
I don't know why. I don't know why he left Minnesota because I just assumed he was going to stick with Kevin O'Connell because Kevin O'Connell's the quarterback whisperer.
Nah, he's smart to leave because he wouldn't have a chance to. Nah, now with Winston coming back, this is
no. I mean, probably not. But
this is he right. Because he had a chance to start. Because he knew who the starter was.
That team is.
It's all about getting the opportunity to start.
That team's not
it's
good
all
either.
about getting the opportunity to start. Like it's all about getting the opportunity.
You got Richardson who's going to do something stupid.
Richardson's terrible.
Right? It's terrible. But again, they keep putting him out there.
He was terrible in college. That's the most. He's an athlete type of draft I've ever seen in my life. I ain't gonna lie to you. When you can't throw the ball worth a lick and then you draft, that's just like I'm sorry. Alabama Milrose, bro.
Yes.
But like y'all got to stop doing that. Like that's disrespect. No, that's disrespect to quarterback play. Like we're not doing that, man. Like we're not doing that. Like we're not like these are we're not. And then try to justify drafting that player over Shador. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. Anyway, I'm sorry. I went on my tangent. I apologize. So, the Giants. The Giants defense is going to be true. I think it's going to be a top tier defense. I do. So George, to your point, George, I do like your thought process. I know what you're saying. Like that defense is the most can keep them it can keep them in many games. Because they got to keep him Maryland too. Who's not a bad young cornerback too. He had a bad year. He had an off year last year though, but I think he'll bounce back, especially if the defensive line is good. I agree with you. Especially if the defensive line is good, he'll be a better football player.
And let's not forget Thibodeau, man. You got Thibodeau, Jaleel Carson.
Yeah, Thibodeau, and you got Burns. You got Brian Burns. They got like, no, seriously, the real talk. They got the best D line in the NFC East. No, sorry, second best. They got the best pass rushers in the NFC East, though. I'm not going to hold you. In totality, in terms of pass rushers, Banks. Thanks, Coach. Yeah, Banks. In terms of pass rushers on your D line, they got the best pass rushers. They don't got the best D line. The Eagles have the best D line, but they have the best pass rushers in the NFC East. Like as a totality, you say Micah Parsons is the best overall pass rusher, right? But like in the conference, the division, excuse me. But they have, in terms of your flavor, they got it. The Giants got it. Like you may not like Thibodeau in terms of think he's underachieved, but now there's no pressure on him. You got Abdul Carter, who was a can't miss to me, like George said. Then you got Brian Burns, who's an elite pass rusher. You had Thibodeau. You can just move Thibodeau around. Like it's almost like, truth be told, yeah, it's almost like when they won the Super Bowl, when they were just moving their whole D line around. Like when they won the ball, they got that kind of versatility. So yeah, to your point, George, I agree. They're going to be their defense is going to be potent. I think their offense is going to be trash. I think it's going to be really bad. Like I don't think it's going to be good. Like Tracy could be as good as he wants to be. Neighbors is good. Neighbors will get some jump ball. Russell Wilson will throw. I called him by his name. I gave him his mama's name. Russell Wilson will throw the ball up. He'll throw them balloon balls up. Neighbors will have a couple opportunities, but that can't be the only pass you can throw.
No,
like that's the problem with me with Russ. Like with Russ, that's the only pass he throws nowadays. That's the only decent pass he throws.
And they don't. What they
and
have.
Goal line. That's a good. Yeah.
What they have is a team
Facts.
that's looking to be developed, and we don't know how much time Dabo have left to develop this team.
He is a good coach, though. I want to give him.
No, I'm not doubting his coaching ability and skills. Yeah. Talking about the fan base here.
True.
That would allow this to go south, where you drafted in the last couple of years in the top 5 draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah.
And so you should have put this thing together right now. You have a veteran quarterback, 2 veteran quarterbacks, because before you get to Jackson Dart, you're going to have to go through Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston.
Yeah, Mike, you saw. Yeah, our line got bigger, but we don't know if it's better. Well, I mean, it should be better. It should be better. Let's just see how it plays out. We always. This is the thing about us fans. We got Connerly Jr. And I've heard some stuff about Connerly Jr. Like it's not even guaranteed that he's going to be playing right tackle, which caught me off guard. Like they're trying out Brandon Coleman off the rip at right tackle, like him. So he may. It depends. So we're not even looking. So let's not go out there and just come out and say like the O-line is like Conley's already gonna be like that guy. I think Conley's gonna be a better player in year 2, year 3, to be real with you. I think when he puts more size on, I think he'll be a better player. But I do think that like that's not a guarantee. He's young, but that's not even a guarantee. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, bro. Like I don't know, bro. I don't know. Like that line is scary though. I won't lie.
Yeah.
Like that Giants line is scary.
Giants line is scary. And they gave Washington Fitz. They gave Washington Fitz last year. Let's not be honest. Let's be honest. They gave Washington Fitz last year, and that game came down to what field goals.
Yeah, sorry.
Offense couldn't score.
Hey, Deluxe. Sorry about the narrative. He owns us, man. Sorry, bro. He owns us. I don't know why he owns us. I see you going off on the chat. I'm sorry, man. He owns us, man.
Some of it was luck, but it wasn't all luck, bro. Believe me,
bro. He was taking on lunch money, man. He was Debo. We had to hide our chains. We had to hide the chains, man. Like Daniel Jones, man. That's one. Anytime he on the schedule, I ain't gonna lie, I get shook. Cause I'll be like, when you predict games for Washington, you be like, damn, Daniel Jones gonna play, and that sucks for me to say that. Because I think Daniel Jones is trash. I really believe that. I think he's trash. But against Washington, he ain't trash, man. Like I be sitting there, I be like, damn, he a little light to be Michael Vick.
He's deceptive. He's deceptive.
He a little light to be Michael Vick. He ain't left-handed. Why he right-handed? Like
Vanilla Vic. One of the content creators on YouTube called him Vanilla Vic.
Yeah, that's how he look against us. He Vanilla Vic against us. It's crazy.
Oh God!
Like it's like he had more rushing yards than passing yards against us. It's crazy. Like, and it's a lot of rushing yards. I'm like,
you know what? This is the kind of stuff that we've been rescued from. This for any of you out there that might be watching this that doesn't know what the last 25 years previous to this last one was like. That's the kind of stuff that happened. That's the kind of depths we plumbed as Washington fans. We were Danny Jones's.
I'm gonna answer Paul's question. How many games did the Giants improve?
How many games they win?
Last year the Giants went 4-13.
I think that's right.
They can win like 2 more games.
I think they can win 7 or 8.
I think 7. I guess they could win 7.
7 or 8
like Dayball. I like Dayball as a coach a lot, actually. So I don't want to.
And honestly, if they win 7 or 8 and Jackson Dart looks decent, they shouldn't fire Dayball. But I don't think they should be firing Dayball anyway. I think he's. No, I don't. I agree with you. But again, it's great. After all the years the Giants looked their nose down at us because we were such a freaking toxic waste dump and all that.
Oh yeah.
They are as much a dumpster fire as we used to be, and it's glorious. Honestly, it's so wonderful.
Yeah, there was
I
3
hate
and
John
14.
Mara, and it couldn't happen to a more deserving person.
There was 3-14 last year, 1-8 1-8
3
at
and
home, and
14.
2-6.
Damn. Oh, they won. They won 3 more games, bro. They got 6.
2-6 on the road, and
They
the
got
end of the
6,
season with a loss. So yeah, they win 3 games. I think they'd be 6-11.
Oh yeah. How many wins for like I ain't doing it. Y'all did that. I'm not doing predictions.
No,
Y'all did
no, not
predictions.
prediction. I'm just saying we talk about closing the gap. To me, the record shows closing the gap. So we
not you, Glenn. I'm talking about Mike asking how
oh.
many wins for the Commanders. I'm not doing that. Y'all can
Oh
do
no,
that.
I'm not doing Commanders wins yet, man.
I ain't doing
No,
that.
we
Mike.
sort of did that on this show a little while ago. I think we gotta wait and see what happens in camps and those
Deluxe,
kind of
man.
things.
Nah, man. Deluxe, man. He look. Just be happy he gone. Like that's all I'm at, man. Look. Luck or not, he's gone, man. We don't gotta see him 2 times. Hey, Deluxe, we don't gotta see this man 2 times a year, bro. We don't gotta see him. Like I don't want to see them. I don't gotta see him at all. We got the coach this year. We don't got the coach, right? I don't got to see him in 20. I don't got to see him 2025, 2026. I am loving it. I love not seeing this dude.
Danny Dimes,
you know what I mean?
baby.
He like Candyman. For real. For me, he like Candyman. I ain't want to say this man's name 3 times. This man scares me.
That used to be Scott Turner. Used to be like
it used
that.
to be Scott Turner.
Used to be Scott Turner, right?
Yeah, look, but see, now he gone. Like, look, because he gone now. Like he gone. I ain't gonna say his name again. Like he gone. Now that moves to Danny Dimes. Danny Dimes. Well, I said, "Ooh, shoot, that's twice." Gotta stop. So that's twice.
Yeah.
That's twice. I'm done. You know that quarterback, that former quarterback for the New York Giants, was scary against us. We could just destroy. Who's this? Oh, this might be Eagle fans. We just destroyed the Commanders in the playoffs. We should destroy them in the first game. They aren't a bad team, but the quarterback was a rookie. They got tape now.
No, you gotta wait till December, Brian.
Maybe
you gotta wait till December. I'm glad you wanted Washington, Philadelphia to play early because I wanted it.
Thanks, Brian, man. Appreciate you, man, with your comments, man.
Out of my mouth.
Brian, I appreciate your comments, bro. Appreciate it.
Yes.
Cowboys.
So the gap. I think all teams.
I like look. Like this is kind of. I like me. I ain't gonna hate. This ain't.
I'll hate on the Cowboys bit.
I mean, but he's got. Like I like.
I know he's got 11 wins for the Cowboys. I'll hate on that part.
I like the fairness.
12-5, 11-6 is
very fair.
Actually, it's probably doing the Eagles down a little bit. 12 is probably a low number.
No. His point is that I get his point. He's saying that the division is going to be tough. I like it.
No, he could be right. He could be right about that.
I like it. I like his point.
He could be right about that.
Treating that man like Voldemort. I'm disappointed. Oh, seriously, like his name should never be mentioned. He should not be named.
That's right.
He who should not be named. That is Danny. Oh, excuse me.
Woo!
That's
close. You got that close.
I got close. Had to stop myself. Had to stop. Man, I had to stop. But yeah. But I do think all in all totality, the Cowboys and the Giants, I guess I could say this in terms of the overall question. Those 2 teams have kind of closed the gap a little bit.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean like they're going to surpass the Commanders in the division in terms of like if I had to like rank it in the division right now, I would have like I'm gonna be fair. I had the Eagles number 1, the Commanders 2, Cowboys 3, Giants. Like, that's how I would have it. You can put whatever record you want on it. But I feel like that's where it's at. And I feel like to what Deluxe said, and I totally agree with him. Because the Eagles are the most complete team.
Yes. I give you
the Commanders are to me, they're the best quarterback. Right? We can make that argument, the best quarterback. Good, just like the Eagles are complete. So the Eagles almost have, they have a solid quarterback. I'm not gonna say that Jalen Hurts is elite, but he's a solid quarterback, and he has great weapons around him, right? So that makes them a complete team. Jaden has Terry Debo. O-line should be improved, but still has questions other than Jeremy Tunsil. And it's got some questions. And Jeremy Tunsil and Biotish. I'm gonna give Biotish his flowers.
Oh yeah, give Biotish flowers.
But then you go to the Cowboys. They got a strong offense. But it's unknown. The defense is. They got some dudes on the D line. You got Micah Parsons. You got one of the best players on in the division. And you got Azaruku, who from Boston College, who's one of the one of the sack dudes out there.
Yeah.
So they do have weapons, and they got guys, and they have weapons. They have weapons. And then you got the Giants, who to me is they're so strong on that defense side of football. Like I think they're so strong for a team that's going to be like I have last place. I'm not a big fan of their offense, other than like obviously neighbors, but again, neighbors and Lacey and Tracy. Tracy is good. He's solid, but he's not like how can I say this? I'm not trying. He's a good back, but he's not for what he's gonna have to deal with. He's not a takeover back, which is not a knock on him. He's a good back. He's not a takeover back, which is not. There are levels to being like when you have to deal with a bad team or bad offense. There's levels to it, or bad quarterback play, right? There's levels to it. And look, all this could add up, and I could be wrong about Russ. Russ could come in and light things up. But I'm just saying the Russ I've seen recently, he hasn't been the same dude.
Man, the Russ I've seen is worried about making another baby.
There you go. You know what I'm saying? Because he's Sierra's husband. So that's what it is. And then you got my man Deluxe has a question. So at the end of the day, like I do think the division as a whole will be tough though. I don't think it'll be easy. I don't think it'll be as ezy as it was last year. You know what I mean? I don't think it'll be easy as it was last year. Yeah. Deluxe has a question for Brian. It's Brian. Did the Eagles stop Jaden in the game? The answer is no. No one stopped Jaden. No, real talk. Nobody worried about
stop themselves.
Nobody stopped Jaden.
Yeah. No one stops Jaden. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna say it again. The best team who defended Jalen was the Cowboys. I'm serious. In the division, the Cowboys are the best team that defended Jalen.
Yeah. Cowboys played everybody tough. They played the Giants tough. They played the Commanders tough. They just got blown out by Philly, which Philly showed their dominance against Dallas.
Mike said, what player will be the best in the second year, including the veterans in the second year? In the second year with the team, including veterans.
I got that one.
What's up?
My player that's going to be the best, Mike, Brandon Coleman.
I like that one.
That second year, Brandon Coleman is gonna show us how he can show us that he's better than what he was last year. So to me,
I like that.
And he has to be better than he was last year.
Oh, I think he'll be better.
So I think Brandon Coleman for me. So
what about you, George?
Mikey Sammer still.
Why you taking my answer? That's terrible.
Because I was gonna say I almost ceded it to you just so you could say it, but
that's cool. You got it. I'm not going to choose
Mikey Sammer still. That kid. They're gonna try, and that's the thing. They're gonna say, "Well, we're gonna keep him in the slot. He might just be too good to be kept there."
That's what I'm saying. I don't know why. Look, I don't know why. I'm giving you my answer. I don't know why this obsession with him trying to be moving him to the slot. I'm gonna be real with you. Like from what we saw last year, he looked way better outside than he did in the slot. So I don't get the obsession with. Yeah, I mean, ideally you drafted him for that, but if somebody shows you that they're better, they look better in the league doing one thing, you might as well listen to what they show you. See, who will be better, veteran or rookie? I will go in their second year with the team. That's a good question. With the second year with the team, I'm gonna say Lattimore. I think Lattimore will be much improved than he was last year.
Okay.
I think Lattimore in year one, we had question marks. It was an injury. The injury wasn't healthy. People were like, oh, he was getting burnt by so-and-so. I think Lattimore will have a bounce back second. He'll have a bounce back year, which is the second year with Washington. So I think he'll be fine with Washington. I like that question. That's a really good question. I like that question.
That's a good question.
Like I said, it's a two-team race, but that makes the games against Dallas and New York even more important. I'm gonna say this much. I would not sleep on the Cowboys in terms of the race. Like I think people will be canceling each other out. I think that like the problem we do as football, the problem we do as fans is that we just use what happened last year as the end all be all, like the marker for what's going to happen next year. And it's not like we got to look at situations, right? Like look at situations for what they were. Like what happened last year with the Giants and the Cowboys. Both teams were in dismay. People were getting injured. Bad quarterback play, whatever. Yeah. They're going to be healthier starting the season. If you looked at how they started the season, they didn't start in dismay until certain people got injured. Like I think the Cowboys, until Dak got injured, they were half decent. Dak get hurt, then they're not a good team anymore. You know what I mean? Like they're winning games. They weren't losing games. And then how many games they won? 7 games, right? Last year. And to George's point too, I don't want to like
I don't want it like that was with McCarthy though. So George has a valid point. Like that's
7 games last year.
But that's what McCarthy, a Super Bowl winning coach. So George had a valid point about you're going a rookie coach. But I'm talking about the talent itself, right? The talent itself, they were able to win football games. So it's good. Like they're gonna, for instance, one of those teams will be able to beat like the Eagles or Washington. It can happen. That's not act like it can't happen. We lost to the Cowboys last year, and I would tell you, I thought we were 10 times better than the Cowboys last year. We was on this show. Don't forget. Before our pregame, we was on this show. I was like, we're gonna smash the in Northwest. I was like, it's gonna be easy. This is a W. We all chalked that up. It's a W. It's easy money. Yeah. What happened? They dominated most of the game, and then we gotta we even though we missed a chippy field goal to go to overtime, but they deserved that game. If Washington deserved that, they deserved that game. So that's how I'm looking at it. Like Deluxe said, I'm not going to argue with them. I'm not going to use biasness. I'm not going to use my fandom. Because everybody knows I hate picking the Cowboys on anything in life. I hate the Cowboys period in life. Everybody who knows me knows this. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm starting to hate Eagle fans more than y'all now. I'm not gonna hold you. It's really annoying to me now. But at the end of the day, like I do agree with the notion that like these teams are gonna come to play. And it's something about the NFC East, right? Like it's just a tough conference, and we play each other.
Hard nose, dog.
The Giants weren't talented to me either, and they competed with us in both games. I'm being real. Like we can't. As fans, as fans, it's easy to say it's a 2-team race. It's not like we're 10 times better than the other teams because if that was the case, we'd have blew them out last year. If that was the case, and you're trying, and then those teams, just like us, they got better, right? We can it's not like they went backwards; they got better with us. So it's not like we're gonna go into it and be like, "Yo, we're gonna dominate again." Nah, it ain't gonna be like that. They're gonna be tough, hard-fought games regardless. Period. That's what it is. It is. You know what I mean? So
they were tough, hard-fought games last year. Let's be honest. This team's record could have easily flipped. So, I mean, I think that goes with the culture, goes with the coaching staff, it goes with everything else. That the gap is close.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate it, bro. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach. Appreciate you.
Appreciate you. No, it's trying to be. We try to bring some realness to it. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Like, but no, I mean, do I want to smash the Eagles? Yeah, I want to smash y'all. Do I want to smash the Cowboys? You darn right, I want to smash the Cowboys. Definitely. I want to smash but you're looking before the season starts. You gotta look at it for what it is. And all of this is all we doing here as fans, and we're guessing. Because be truth be told, no, other than my man Paul said, I gave you your flowers. Folks that had Washington winning that many games last year. Paul did though, so I'm giving Paul his flowers. But a lot of folks that had Washington winning like that many games last year. I know I didn't. I was in the.
I had 7 wins last year.
I was in the Travis Hunter Bowl, so you already know where I was.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me.
I was in the Travis Hunter Bowl. So
he was in Travis Hunter Bowl in preseason.
I was in preseason bowl for a minute. After week 1, I was still in that thing. I was like, we hitting it. We getting it. We getting Travis Hunter. We gonna have Jaden Travis Hunter. You know, gonna tell me nothing. I'm gonna have Super Bowls for days. But look how it panned out. Great. It was one of the greatest seasons, like in terms of my Washington fandom, and I've been around when this team won a Super Bowl. So I'm just saying, like, so you just don't know. That's what I'm saying. You don't know. Like that's the thing that, that's why I'm never definitive in May. I'm not even definitive in July, to be real with you, because I hate July. Because I just feel like people report everything and think like just because they think you look good in like shorts that you're going to be good when you have to put the pads on. And we've seen that that's not always the case. So I like preseason. Let me see preseason. Let me see the young dudes flying. Yeah. Then I can gauge the depth of the team. You know,
you also gauge the vibe of the team too. Everybody's there supporting the young guys.
No. You definitely can, but I definitely can, Glenn. You definitely can. Yeah. I agree with that. It's just that I feel like that's where I hone in. Like for me, like that's when I'm like, okay, I like what I see. You know what I mean? Because I've been caught in the masses too. Like thanks to Glenn, I used to when I go down to like training camp, and I seen stuff where I was like, oh, this dude's gonna be nice. I've been like one of them people too. Like I'm not going to act like I'm above it all. Yeah, like, this dude gonna be nice, and then week 1 hit. Damn, what's wrong? This dude trash. Golly, I was like, you know what I mean? Like, because you get into that environment. So I gotta see you. I gotta see you going. I gotta see you locking horns with somebody, man. Like I gotta see you. No, then I'm like, okay, all right. The only person I felt like that everybody gassed up
the only person I feel like they gassed up and like produced like they gassed Jaden, but not like they gassed Jaden. But he was the first pick overall, like his second pick overall, so he didn't count. But it was like when Terry McLaurin was drafted, I mean, when he was like when they were talking about him in camp, I was like, the dude, the kickoff returner, I used to be like, the kickoff returner, are you serious? Like he wasn't the best receiver at Ohio State. And I'm a Michigan fan,
right?
I'm like, he's not the best receiver. And then like they he gonna start. He looked good. I'm like, are you serious? Like he looked good. All right, whatever. Like, and then the first play, I was like, okay, you're right.
He torched that Eagles secondary the first time he played.
I was like, you're
Even
right.
with Case Keenum at quarterback.
Yeah, I was like, you're right. You're right. Coach says, will Eckler be a returner again? Is he a camp cut candidate? I think he will.
I hope not. On both counts.
I think
I want Jalen Rain. I want Jalen Rain.
I don't think he's getting cut. I don't think he's getting cut. I think he's definitely gonna be on the team.
Yeah, Eckler's not gonna get cut.
If you interview this year, I will. I'll interview somebody. Have a disclaimer saying have a shirt on before the interview.
Have a shirt on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Paul. I definitely will, man. I definitely will. No,
yeah,
I'm not interviewing nobody. I'm not interviewing nobody with no shirt on.
And keep that hat on because you don't want that steam coming off your head like in that interview.
Yeah, I know. It's so hot, man. I'm not doing that crap again. I might bring my portable fan and whatnot. But I used to I don't like the heat. I don't like the heat like that. That's terrible. That's terrible, Paul. Don't you be my guy. You know what? You know what I'm saying? No, I'm about to fry you, Paul, just for that, man. Hey, Paul, you said Minnesota. You said Minnesota and 5. Oh, you say Minnesota and 5? You said Minnesota and 5, right? Yeah. OKC and 5, buddy. I told you. FYI.
Ant-Man's disappearing, dog.
Anyway, look, man, he played against the better team. That's the problem. People gotta stop the better team. This ain't a basketball show, but I'm gonna let y'all know. This ain't a basketball. Yo, I'm not gonna show that. I ain't even showing that. No, man, we ain't doing. No, Mike, I ain't doing that. Mike, I ain't even doing that. What's wrong with you, Mike? This is a family show, buddy. It's a family show. It's a family show. Paul think 30 getting cut. Okay, you think Eckler getting cut?
Ooh.
I don't think Eckler getting cut. I don't think he getting cut. I think they like him too much.
I think Rodriguez getting cut.
I can see that. It's unfortunate. They do him dirty. I can see that.
But we'll see.
It's gonna really bother me after McNichols fumbled that ball away.
He should be fired. That's the one should get cut. McNichols should get cut.
Get him out of here.
He is not. I will never forgive him for that fumble.
No,
I thought we had momentum. I'll never forgive him for that fumble.
Yeah,
I thought we had
especially
momentum
because of who it was against. Yeah, you're out of here.
The concussion thing is an issue, though. I won't lie, it is an issue. His concussions are an issue with Eckler. It is an issue, though. I won't even lie. That is a thing. That definitely is a thing. All right, well, y'all, we're about to close this show out. This has been dope. Great work. Hold on. Deluxe said before we close out. Says if C-Rod and McNichols get cut, they will go to the practice squad.
I agree with that.
Agreed.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
this happened for the last 3 years.
After the game, that 26 shouldn't be allowed. I'm serious. He shouldn't. I'm dead ass. Excuse my language, but yeah, I'm serious. I don't want this dude. I don't want him on a. I'm just mad they resigned him.
Well, I was mad at anybody who puts the ball on the ground anyway, because I was that way with my man. What was his name?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, who played with the Patriots now? You talking about Gibson?
I was that way with Gibson. So I was that way.
Dude, I do not. He should not have been re-signed after that. I'm sorry.
No, so
he didn't even need to be re-signed. I'm so mad they re-signed him.
I'll take Rodriguez over him any day.
Yeah, I feel like
same here.
And when you got Lane, and now you to George's point, like you got Lane. Like, what do you need him for? Like in terms of kickoff, he doesn't need to be in the back. He doesn't need to be in the rotation as a running back, and he doesn't need to be. He doesn't need to be in the kickoff on teams. You already got guys for teams. Like, yeah, he better get cut. I'm sorry. I don't like that. Like, that's his job or whatever. I don't know you personally, bro, but I hope you get cut. I ain't gonna hold you. I don't know you, but I hope you get cut.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, if he's watching, hit the subscribe button.
Matt John. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saying if McNichols is watching, hit the subscribe button.
Hey, yo.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Matt Jones. I remember him
Matt
once
Jones
every
fumbled like
26
crazy.
carries.
Yeah,
he laid it on the ground.
Yeah.
He did. He fumbled. Yeah. Nichols, yeah. Hit the subscribe button, buddy. Hit the subscribe. You know who I think be watching shows?
Subscribe.
You know who I think be watching shows for real? Like Paul be saying it, but I think he do be like searching stuff out. I think B-Rob be watching like content creators for real.
Oh, he does.
I think he does. I think
He's turning. He's kind of turning heel. Like if it's
a
wrestler, he's turning
big heel. I like it. I like pettiness.
B-Rob can hit it too because we talk about.
Yeah, Paul said, "Hey, he said it. Hey, everyone, B-Rob watched the show." That's what Paul. He said it. Paul be like, B-Rob be watching these shows. Oh man, I think he be watching. I'm not saying this show. I'm not gonna go that far because I'm not like, but he could be. Not saying he isn't, but he definitely watches some shows because he get the energy. You could tell like he getting it from somewhere. And he's searching things out. You can tell when someone's searching things out. He's definitely searching things out.
You know, it's a money year for him, man. And that's a whole other conversation. It's a money year, so that's a whole.
Y'all had a good conversation about him not too long ago. That thing was dope. That thing was definitely dope. All right, we are definitely about to close this shit. Oh, hold on. See, Deluxe, every time I'm about to close it out, you got something to say. Hold on. I'm gonna make sure. Deluxe, what Paul? Nah, it's Paul. Deluxe says, yeah. I mean, you need 90 men on the roster. Depth is depth. Even if practice squad need players to teach culture and scheme to new guys. Definitely agree.
Yeah, definitely
agree. That is a thing. That's definitely a thing. All right. Well, before we close the show out, subscribe to our podcast on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, and other podcast platforms. Just search All Burgundy and Go Errrything. Also, tweet us at ABG_Errrything and hit us up on IG and TikTok at ABG_Errrything. If you have not, you're watching this on a different platform, please go to our All Burgundy and Go Errrything YouTube channel. Hit that red subscribe button and also like this video. All right, man, this has been dope. Great show by the fellas. Thank y'all for starting the show, holding me down. I was in an anger moment. I was like, "Damn, where is my work property?" Found it, so I'm happy.
It's kind of important.
Very important.
It's kind of important.
Very important. So I found it. So I was very happy. So once I found it, I was like, "Let me jump on." Anyway, appreciate everybody in the chat. You all are dope. Deluxe, Paul, Mike, Jeremy. Who else I see in here?
Brian was in here. Brian popped in tonight. Coach.
Brian, who else we got? Phil. That's all we talked. You said Brown already. Taj. I know it's somebody else. I want to get everybody flowers.
Clyde Parks.
Yeah, Brian. Yep. Is that it?
That's it.
All right, that's it. Anyway, all right. Well, again, appreciate y'all for like just being loyal folks, man. Just holding us down. We appreciate it. Anyway, you've been listening to All Burgundy and Go Errrything, powered by the Urban Sports Scene of Fox Sports Radio, 96.9 FM and 1340 AM. Hopewell, Virginia, for ages. Deuces. We are out.
Peace.